Hello, and welcome to episode 8 of Life Lived and Lessons Learned. We are at our last and final episode of the season, guys. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. I feel like because it's the last episode, we can keep talking, and you guys have sent in lots of suggestions, and I'll definitely be picking them up for season 2 because season 2 is coming back. But I think for this one, I really want to talk about this end of the year situation that's happening, okay? As in, we're coming into December. We've got 4-ish weeks and then the new year comes. So there's a lot of feelings around the end of the year. I feel like there's a lot of excitement for the new year, and there's a lot of grief for the year going. So anyway, let's get into the episode, shall we? We're coming up to the end of the year, and like I said, there's lots of feelings that surround this time period. We're in December, and you're probably thinking to yourself multiple things. Number one, oh my gosh, what have I done with my 12 months? I'm not where I wanted to be. I set out goals for this year and I haven't achieved them. Or you're thinking, oh my God, I smashed it this year. I did a great job. I hit my targets. I went above my targets. Or you're thinking, I was really good in the first 6 months and then something happened and it knocked me and I couldn't get back on the horse. I couldn't continue, and I just don't want to carry that energy into the next year. That's okay. These are all normal feelings, okay? I think the good thing about having these New Year type vibes is that, okay, you can wash the slate clean, you can start afresh. Whether that's starting afresh because you feel as though you want to improve, or whether that's starting afresh as in, reshifting our perspective. So let's talk about how December is actually a tough year, because not only do we have Christmas, not only do we have New Year, but we also have this feeling of the year is coming to an end, okay? Christmas is a hard time for some people. Christmas is a really difficult, tough time. I personally love Christmas. I have always been a Christmas babe. I feel like Mariah Carey over Christmas because that's just my time to shine. I love Christmas decorations. I love family. But I think Christmas can be really difficult because community is really one of those words that's really overused, but people don't actually know what it means and what it should stand for. And I think generations before us, and when I say us, I'm talking about millennials, when we're talking about boomer generations and older, their sense of community has always been fantastic. They just didn't have the devices that kept them away from one another. You needed this person to be able to do this. You needed that person to be able to do that. They were able to build a web of community around them. So when it came to celebratory times like Christmas, or if you're in America, Thanksgiving, or birthdays, christenings, bar mitzvahs, whatever it might be, they had, that community around them. And I think in this day and age, it's really difficult. For example, for Christmas for me and my family, how it's always looked is my mum and my dad will host Christmas at their house. Me, the siblings will be there. It's a very intimate Christmas, okay? Things that are going to change for this Christmas. First of all, one of my brothers doesn't live in this country anymore, so we might not have him at Christmas. Secondly, my mum has said, I don't want to have a cold Christmas this year. I want to be somewhere warm. So my mum might go spend Christmas with my little brother. Where my mum is, my dad will be there too, okay? They pretend like they don't get along, but they're obsessed with each other. So my dad will ship off wherever she's gone. My little sister's 15, so she's going to go with my parents because Lord knows I'm not looking after her. So she'll be off. So it'll be me and another brother who are here. So are we going to have Christmas just the two of us? That's doable. That's okay. That's fine. Or I can have Christmas with my boyfriend. I can have Christmas with my friends. So Christmas is now shifting and looking different. And I think this is where community comes into play, because families grow, evolve, change, whatever. But the community that you build. So I heard someone say, another creator called Juicy, she says, community is you have to come to the unity. It's a choice. You have to make active choice to build those relationships so you can have your Friendsmas or your, Christmas with your in-laws or Christmas with whoever else is part of your community. But Christmas can be tough for people. So in this season of Christmas and in this season of what they call it, season greetings, and the festivities, the festive times, I think Christmas is a day and it's a beautiful day, but it is just one day. And I think we put too much pressure on ourselves on how we should spend it. Christmas can look however you want it to look. I think the ads make us think that Christmas is a big family table with a massive roast dinner and a big fat turkey and a dad standing there with a carving knife and a mum walking in with mashed potatoes and laughing and girl, okay, we're all working people. it is what it is. You make your Christmas how you want to make it. If your Christmas tradition is you want to sit there and just binge watch Christmas movies, you do that with you and your best mate. You do what you need to do. But also, if you are alone at Christmas, and I think it's really important I should talk about this. If you're alone at Christmas, there are places you can go to have community Christmases. I think it's really tough to be alone at Christmas. I always think about elderly people. I used to work as a carer, for those of you who don't know, which meant I would do the Christmas Day shift sometimes. And you'd go into someone's house and they're by themselves. And, we'd cook them Christmas dinner. I mean, we would have Christmas with them. But like I'm saying, community is what you make of it. And just like they're having Christmas alone, their carer is also technically having Christmas alone. So I would go in as their carer and I would have Christmas with them. And everybody's Christmas looks different. How many times have I said Christmas in one sentence? This is ridiculous. But everybody's festive period is different. So don't put pressure on yourself to make it look a certain way. Don't feel like you have to be alone, even if you technically are alone, because there are places you can go to. But also, there is nothing wrong with wanting to be alone at Christmas. If you want to be alone, you can be. My mum, when we were growing up, we would always, Christmas morning, take food to the food bank on Christmas morning. Actually, we do it Christmas Eve. We'd take food to the food bank. My mum would do a grocery shop. She'd do for our Christmas shop and for the food bank, and we take it. And it was kind of like a family tradition. We did that for a few years while we were young. My mum always, talking about the idea of your Christmas doesn't have to look a certain type of way for it to feel festive. Christmas is just about a time of like showing love. And there are some people who don't even celebrate technically what Christmas is rooted in. They don't celebrate what Christmas is rooted in, but they celebrate the idea of like coming together with friends and family and loved ones, etc., etc. Anyways, so once Christmas is done, we then have those depressing days up until New Year. And the reason why they're so depressing is because you've just come from the high of Christmas, if you've, had a big old Christmas. And then you've got those couple of days where you're thinking about the new year. Work is kind of in and out. It's a bit slow sometimes, whatever. And you're thinking about January 1st and all these New Year's resolutions you're going to make, and new year, new me, and you're going to be a fantastic version of you. And the reality is the 1st of January comes and you're still the same you. And that's not a bad thing. And I think the idea behind New Year, New Me is beautiful in the sense that you want to reinvent yourself. Circling back to our first episode, you want to rebrand yourself. Right? But I think the pressure behind it is unfair because it is a choice. If you do not do your New Year's resolutions for January 1st and you decide to do them for April 25th, guess what? You make the rules. You're allowed to. You go at your pace and you set the rules in your time. There's a trend going around at the moment called the winter arc. I don't know if you guys have seen videos of that, where people are basically talking about between the months of like October and December, it's your time to like, be the best version of yourself. You go to the gym and you work out and da-da-da-da. Winter arc, people are kind of indoors most of the time. You're not really going out to events. So you can like focus on like health journeys and like glow up and da-da-da. Babe, you can choose to do your quote unquote winter arc whenever you bloody please to. So yes, it's great to come into the new year with this momentum, but there are some people who just won't have that. I have been one of them. This year was one of the hardest years for me because I vision board near enough every year. And I have for the most recent years every year. It's something that I find very important and grounding and necessary for me. And this year I vision board, but not the way I wanted to. And things happened this year that meant that my goals had to change. The goals of my career had to shift because my career took a shift through no fault of my own, but life happened. A goal that was not on there had to come back on there. I'll tell you what, at the beginning of the year, I was ghosting my therapist. I've spoken about Louise before. I love Louise. Sometimes we butt heads, but I love her. At the beginning of the year, I was ghosting her. And it got to a point near enough middle of the year. And I was like, I need her back. I think things have happened. We have completely shifted. I need Louise back immediately. That happens. Life happens. I say all of this to say, you're coming into the new year. But again, this idea of putting pressure on yourself to be perfect is draining. You will be tired before you can even try and accomplish that. I'm not saying don't be tough on yourself. I'm not saying don't push yourself. I'm not saying don't work hard. I'm saying work as hard as you are able to work. You know what I mean? If you on that day have 50%, guess what you work up to? You work up to 50%. What I don't agree with is when you are at 50% trying to work at a 70% rate. That is unhealthy for you and And in the long run, it will actually demotivate you because you will be annoyed that you haven't been able to achieve the 70% version of you. You'll be annoyed that you haven't been able to achieve the 70% success rate that you were expecting to achieve. I don't know when I'm next going to see you in terms of season 2. I haven't confirmed the dates, but if I don't see you on this side of the year, I want you to go into next year with a level of grace and a level of understanding that the version of you that was screaming 3, 2, 1, Happy New Year is the exact same person who will wake up the next morning. Okay. And the fact that you are able to wake up and see 2025 is a huge blessing. You take those small wins because in the grand scheme of things, those small wins are the big wins. They're the things that we take for granted daily, but they are the big wins. So come into this side of the year, knowing and understanding, realizing and appreciating the version of you that was on the other side of 2024 is the same amazing, gorgeous, sometimes wildly chaotic version, sometimes annoying, but that's okay. Sometimes slightly problematic, but that's okay. But also beautiful, weird and wacky version that will come into 2025. And with all of that being said, give yourself grace. Set out your goals, set out what you want to do, but give yourself grace. I would actually say for the first week of 2025, don't really do anything. Also, in January, no one has money, okay? No one has money. Just focus on clean the house, do free stuff. Okay, figure out what your goals are for the year. I would say spend the whole of January figuring out what it is, who you want to be for the end of the year. I always say January and December in your year should not be months where you are actively going 100 miles per hour on the motorway. They are the months where you are now coming to a nice, slow, gentle break at the services and you're about to pull in and you're about to put fuel into the car. You're about to grab snacks for the journey. You're grabbing the drinks, you're grabbing the crisps, you're getting back in the car and then you're going back on the motorway. That's what January and December are for. They are months to just reset and breathe and go. But some of us use them as months to keep going. And then you get to April and you're like, oh my God, I'm really tired. It's because you didn't take January and December to just chill out, okay? So this December, chill, take time. Obviously, I understand people have to work. I'm not saying no, don't do work, but I'm just saying, give yourself grace, babe. Give yourself grace. You've had a long year. 2024 has been an absolute cracker of a year, not just in terms of your own personal stuff, but just the world in general has been on fire for most of it. So we just, as a society, just need to take a break, take a breather and take a break. But yeah, I will see you in season 2 of LLLL. Should we start calling it that? No, let's not. I'll see you in season 2 and we'll be back and better. And I can't wait to hear about all the things you've implemented over this season and all the things you've learnt over the last few weeks of us being together and over the Christmas break. We will check back in. Like I said, I don't know when I will see you, but check my socials out because I will update you guys over there. But I love you lots. And in this life, it's all about learning lessons. And I sure as hell have learned a lot in the last 30 years, but just in the last year alone, I have learned more about myself than I have ever done before. So that's what this space is for. It's just for us to keep learning and keep growing and keep building. But anyways, I love you lots and I will see you when I see you. Stay safe. Enjoy Christmas, have a great new year, and just remember on January 1st, when you're nursing a hangover or whatever, just remember, take it easy. You're allowed to have this moment of respite. You've worked hard, you deserve it. Okay? I love you lots, and I'll see you. Toodles!